And here we go, part 3 of this BBC attack on Hungary for being a European nation and wanting to remain European.
Back in the border town of Kubikaza, I'm taken to where the fence begins, Hungary's border with Serbia and Romania. Here it acts as little more than a symbolic gesture.
It's just a step.
A migráció is egy nagyon nagy hazugság volt. Az ellenségkép, vizionálás a magyar társadalom.
Now, who is talking? Creating a picture of the enemy for the Hungarian society was a big lie. Who is saying this? Because across Europe you see these migrant clashes, all this stuff. You do see it as something, but is this the same mayor?
Propaganda TV. This is a propaganda TV.
Again with the propaganda TV.
Yeah.
State TV being discussed on the state TV.
Most
Irony
of
is
Hungary's
lost.
media now has some link to the government, and migrant stories are constantly in the news.
Now, I was wondering this. Again, live in the U.S., so most of our news and media is not linked to the government in any direct fashion. The BBC, the British Broadcast Service channel, I know Canada has government funding for that. Of course, Great Britain does. I know some channels in Europe are all funded by the state. Of course, Al Jazeera is funded by Qatar. Is it not the standard that most large-scale media are funded via their government? More or less a state media where the journalists are more or less state actors, because the BBC very much seems like they are state actors all the time.
Az utóbbi időben volt csak talán, hogy 500.
Now, again, there is no citation for this in the BBC article. No.
100 darab médiát vásárolt meg, vagy ilyen-olyan módon kaparintott meg magának a kormány.
Now, were these failing media outlets? In the U.S., we currently have our clickbait media, the online slander media, are currently falling apart, but I don't know that that's normal around the world.
Propagandájával súlykolni a magyar társadalmat.
Now, suppress Hungarian society. This man is very negative. The family and most of the stuff they've seen so far are pushing Hungarian society.
What do you hear on the news about what's happening in Western Europe?
Megérkeztek az emberek tömegesen is, hogy
Now, riots in France against taxes, attacks on churches throughout Europe, stabbing and acid gangs in Britain, riots of immigrants in Finland and Denmark and Sweden, all these things happening. Yeah, these are things happening. We're going to skip forward.
Hordoznak terroristák.
This is true, and terrorists among them. Those are actually both sort of true.
Vannak közöttük.
Például az illegális migráció és a terrorizmus elleni.
a nők megerőszakolása, gyilkosságok.
Now, in Britain alone, there are grooming and rape gangs of white girls all around Britain, and there were a bunch of Pakistanis. That's where the man known as Tommy Robinson comes into play. He was covering that, and he was arrested for trying to cover it outside the courthouse, and then his court appearance was covered by the media. Even though they're not supposed to cover it, they did exactly what he did, and yet none of them were attacked for it like he did, because he was white and the other people were Pakistani, I believe. This happened in Britain and in multiple other European nations.
Egyszerűen, az ember kinyitja a híreket, én annyira örülök, hogy Magyarországon élek.
Sounds like a good place, actually.
Of thousands have left the country since he came to power. In Budapest, I meet with Bertajin, who's grown up here.
I feel frustrated and sad a lot, and that's why, I don't know, I think it's difficult to live here.
Now, one of the things that you kind of hear in this little segment, we're
I
gonna
have so many friends.
can
and
kind of
most
talk
them
over it.
live in Copenhagen, Amsterdam,
These
London. They've
people
left
are
Hungary.
graduating from college in Hungary, and they're taking their
Thinking about
education
moving to another
and
country.
going
I'm
to other
actually not
countries
considering
that
to raise a
pay
kid here.
a lot more. This is the brain drain
Hungary is not
you
seen
see
as a
across the world.
democratic country anymore.
Nope.
By
I have my right to vote.
If you
but
go to
when
any
I
country,
to vote,
you can find a group of far-left liberals who will tell you that their country is not democratic anymore because the right wing run it. And so far in the BBC interview, you'll see there's been no evidence, nothing at all.
my vote doesn't work.
Just
much.
a
I'm the minority
10-minute
who
propaganda
actually
video.
listens the word and knows that things can be different.
In the run-up to the European elections, Viktor Orban has run a vicious and personal campaign against the EU.
The EU that your Britain voted to leave, the majority of the BBC's population there in Britain, they voted to leave. Not only did they vote to leave once, they voted to leave a second time by electing the Brexit Party. The EU is starting to fall apart. The overreach, the anger, the lack of the active attack on British nationalists, Hungarians. See this lady here.
Free press, equal rights for all people.
I wouldn't say we are living in a dictatorship.
Momentum Party. %16. No, 9%. The Liberal Momentum Party with 9% of the vote. This is your
But
fringe
I know
outlier.
That, there's less and less freedom day by day because there's a lot of people living in fear. If they speak up, they're going to lose their job. If they go to a demonstration.
All right, now I found this funny because I have been watching BBC coverage. Tommy Robinson had a political rally, and he was attacked, and they were throwing bricks at him. Not the police, not protesters. They actually marched people. I believe it was like 35 miles. They took a train, then marched the miles with police protection to attack families outside of their homes. And this was actual political violence. These people aren't being attacked.
Their family going to be harassed. Their business.
They're out there. You don't see people covering their faces up. You don't see any of that.
This is going to be shut down.
That looks like the most peaceful march ever.
How do you feel about the relationship that Orban is forging with the EU at the moment?
Do you see protesters? Do you see bricks being thrown? Do you see any of that happening? Kids with balloons and dogs.
He can start a domino effect within the EU, which is dangerous.
You domino effect within the EU, which is dangerous, which is what Britain is doing by leaving. Salvini and Italy will probably leave soon.
As nationalism gathers momentum across Europe,
nationalism rises against globalism or foreign occupation. That's what nationalism comes against. So, as globalism, as the EU tries to take over and force native peoples out, strip native people of their rights, those native peoples form nationalist movements to return their rights to them and grow. They were just talking about equal rights for people. They're not talking about equal rights for Hungarians. They are saying that other people should have the same rights as you in your country, meaning there is no reason to be a citizen of any country. You have no rights. Everyone has rights. You're just a number.
parties from different countries are planning to work together after the elections to fight the European Union from within.
There you go. They're making it a bad thing that that people within the European Union, the nations that make up the European Union, don't like the way the European Union is running. So those groups are going to come into the European Union and change it democratically from within. That's the point of the European, or the original point of the European Union was a trade organization to help Europe grow, to negotiate, to make things easier. But that's not how she's painting it. These groups are going to destroy the European Union by making the European Union represent Europeans. How strange is that?
For so many of them, Viktor Orbán is their hero. Hungary, their inspiration.
Igazából, aki szerette a
Imagine that. Those who love Hungary and have always been proud of it,
hazáját, az mindig büszke volt rá, csak most már mer is büszkelni, fölmeri emelni a fejét. Jó ez a megfogalmazás, ez a merjünk nagyok lenni.
let us dare to be big. Let us be proud of who we are. Let us be proud of our nation. Let's be proud of our history and our heritage. Can you imagine a nation so hateful, so crazy that they would be proud to be from that country, especially if your family's been there for thousands of years? How strange is it that the BBC attacks these people?
There are families who are getting money from Orbán and who are happy with their lives.
That's the biggest sin of this government, that there are hundreds of thousands of people benefiting from the system and they are safe, and then hundreds of thousands of people living in such
Now, hundreds of thousands of people leaving.
such bad condition that they don't have tomorrow.
Now, there is nothing in this entire video that supports what she just said. The people you see who are talking about leaving look like they're fairly well off. They're eating in the shops. They're living outside of cafes. They're the urban educated. They are leaving Hungary because Germany, London, Amsterdam, these countries have more money and they will pay them higher salaries. There was nothing in this entire video to support any of the BBC's claims. This is propaganda. This is why the BBC needs to have actual competitors in Britain. Please find a European channel that you'd like to watch, because I don't know that I will cover much in Europe, because it is insane to me that the Europeans are not allowed to be in Europe anymore. Because again, I live in the US, so we're really screwed because 19,000 people are running for the Democratic nomination, and no matter who wins, we're all gonna lose. So thank you for your time. Enjoy your afternoon. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna try and knock out a few videos a week now. Probably be like this, where I do 2 or 3 all at once over the same story. Again, Hungary's Orbán has attempted to dissolve Europe's values. No, he's actually attempted to push Europe's values. Brussels is trying to say that Europe doesn't need to be European anymore. Thank you all for your time today. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Thank you. Subscribe, like, share, whatever. I'm just here making stuff.